Good morning, fellas, and welcome back to Me Plays Games, the show with 10 bowling lanes and optional bumpers. My name is Matt, and a few months ago I did a video talking about the Wii Sports Speedrun, specifically the all sports category, where you play tennis, baseball, bowling, golf, and boxing back to back. Today we'll be looking at the all sports speedrun in the sequel, Wii Sports Resort. As usual, I got a ton of help from the game's speedrunning community, so check out their Discord if you're interested in running the game, or any other game in the Wii series. Link in the description. For more videos like this, subscribe to the channel and join our Discord server. Link in the description as well. Alright, let's get started. The world record for this game belongs to Ducky with an I, with a time of 15 minutes 49 seconds. He doesn't have a capture card, so I'll be mixing in footage from other runs throughout this video. Unlike the original game, you can play the sports in any order you'd like in Wii Sports Resort, but you have to finish with skydiving. This game features 12 sports, most of which have several different categories. In basketball, for example, you can play either a 3-point contest or a pickup game, but according to the rules of the run, you have to play the 3-point contest for your run to count. And there are similar rules for several other sports. We'll talk about those as we go. First up is Frisbee Golf, where you have to finish 3 holes. There's a Frisbee Dog category too, but who cares? Wii Sports Resort has 18 holes, 9 new ones and 9 classic ones from Wii Sports Golf. If you watched my video on the original Wii Sports, you might remember that in golf, runners play the intermediate holes. Runners play the same ones in this game, and they can be found under the name Classic B in Wii Sports Resort. Ducky finishes the game in 5 throws, with a hole-in-one on hole 4 and 2 throws each on the other 2. You might notice that for most of his shots, Ducky is throwing forehanded, as opposed to backhanded, which is more common in real life. This is because of a technique called a wipeout throw. By flicking your wrist and aiming slightly down, the frisbee will fly further in the air, like a lot further. The game says that the average distance the driver will go is 180 yards, but with wipeout throws you can go up to 300 yards and beyond. Wipeout throws are usually done forehanded, because if you do them backhanded, your body gets in the way. You can do whichever way you prefer, but the majority of runners do them forehanded. Forehanded throws, also known as flicks, are also common in Ultimate Frisbee, where defenders will usually try to block you from throwing backhanded. My friend Dash and I played Ultimate together in high school. He won Rookie of the Year on our team, and I stunk. But I digress. Like in Wii Sports, you're allowed to quit out to the menu before the game actually finishes, which is faster because of how many menus the game would take you through otherwise. It's also important to do this because otherwise you'd gain XP, and you would have to set up your Mii between every run, since you want easy opponents in sports like swordplay and table tennis. For Frisbee Golf, Ducky quits as soon as he sees this glowing effect on the 3rd hole. Next up is, well, golf with clubs and stuff. Ducky picks the same 3 holes for regular golf. In the original Wii Sports, there's a glitch called the disconnect shot, where you violate every rule of golf by taking out a battery from your controller right after swinging, then quickly putting it back. This allows you to do things like land in the water without being penalized, and swing a second time while the ball is in the air. That glitch isn't in Wii Sports Resort though, so runners just play normally. Unfortunately, golf can be an RNG-riddled meat grinder. For one, the wind speed and direction are random, so you have to adjust your shots differently every time. The location of the hole in the green is also random. In Wii Sports Resort Golf, each hole has 6 possible pin locations, 3 harder A pins and 3 easier B pins. A pins tend to be on slopes, which makes putting more difficult. Fortunately, you always get B pins in 3-hole games. It is possible to manipulate the game into giving you B pins in longer golf games though. That's not relevant in this run though, so check out Summoning Salt's video about Wii Sports Resort Golf to find out how. Link in the description. Ducky gets a birdie on hole, 1, 4, 13, pi? Whatever you want to call the first hole he plays, then an eagle on the next one. On the final hole, he hits the ball into the water on purpose, since you don't have to wait for it to stop rolling that way. This saves about 2 seconds over a normal shot. Then he exits out as soon as the ball goes into the hole. Yeah, go figure, the pause button actually works at the end of Golf and Resort. In the original Wii Sports, you had to use either the home button on your Wii remote or the reset button on your console if you're using an original Wii. Next up is bowling. Runners will play a standard 10-pin game here. This is basically the same idea as Wii Sports. To finish as fast as possible, you want to take as few throws as possible, and the absolute minimum is 11. Runners will go for strikes on the first 9 frames, then get 2 gutter balls in a row on the 10th to finish with a score of 240. You know, a while back I fell down a rabbit hole of bowling videos, and apparently the PBA does a strike derby every year, where a bunch of guys compete to get as many strikes as they can in 2 minutes. Fun stuff. Anyway, you can quit as soon as the last ball lands in the gutter. In power cruising, you just have to make it to the finish line. The game will tell you to get back on the course, but you can take that as a friendly suggestion. And if you're speedrunning the game, you absolutely should take it as a suggestion, because cutting corners is obviously faster than going through normally. As soon as the word finish appears on screen, it's on to swordplay. Ducky starts this one with a skill level of 20. That gives him Fumiko as his opponent, as opposed to a brand new Mii profile where you start with Ryan, who has a lower skill level. It doesn't really matter which one you go up against, so some of the top runners will face Ryan instead. The main difference is Ryan tends to block sideways, while Fumiko usually blocks vertically. So this one just comes down to personal preference. Murderize them like they're nothing for 2 rounds and quit as soon as they fall off the platform. Next up is canoeing. As you would probably guess, the beginner course is faster than the intermediate and expert ones, by about 2 or 3 seconds. Since there's a left turn in this course, runners will stick to the left side to take it as tightly as they can. As soon as you see the word finish on screen, you can move on. Ducky goes for wakeboarding next. Wakeboarding is a high score based game where you just try and score as many points as you can in 2 minutes. But you could also just, score 0 points. So you can just take a nap and quit when finish appears on screen. There are 6 stages available for cycling: around the island, to the beach, across the bridge, over Talon Rock, up the volcano, and into Makawoohoo. For the speedrun, Ducky goes for To the Beach. This is the fastest option by a pretty wide margin, about 10 seconds ahead of the second fastest course across the bridge. Ducky pedals in short bursts throughout the race to conserve energy, drafting behind other racers as often as possible. One recent find in cycling is drifting. By tilting both the Wii Remote and Nunchuck to one side, you can drift, saving about 2 seconds. As soon as you finish the race and Vincenzo says nice job, you can move on. And now on to another sport where scoring 0 points is optimal and cool: archery. Just shoot all your arrows straight into the ground for a grand total of 0 points. As soon as you get rid of your final arrow, you can move on. Next up is basketball. Like I said in the intro, runners will do the 3-point contest. The maximum possible score is 30, which you get by making all 25 shots, including the 2-point money balls at the end of each rack. How many points do you think runners will aim to score here? Yep, it's 0 again. All you need to do is intentionally miss all 25 shots. Basketball features a tech called Jumpless, which, as you might have guessed, lets you shoot the ball without jumping. To do Jumpless, you need to hold your Wii Remote upside down with the controller's sensor tilted slightly towards you. Then you grab a ball with B and flick your wrist forward to shoot without jumping. If you're like me, you're probably wondering about the real-life NBA 3-point contest as well right now. What's the lowest score in that contest history? And the answer is 5, a tie between Detlef Schrempf in 1988 and... Michael Jordan in 1990. What do you know? Anyway, you can exit as soon as you shoot the final money ball. Alright, only a few more sports to go. In table tennis, Ducky starts off with a skill level of 0 and gets Cole as his opponent. You're going to be playing to 6 points and you get to serve 4 times, since you switch off every 2 points. Whenever Ducky serves, he does what's known as a double table bounce, or DTB for short, or double in tableography bouncicle for long. By serving with enough spin, you can get the ball to bounce on the table twice before Cole has a chance to return it. This saves about 2 to 3 seconds. You can quit as soon as you see 2 bounces on screen after the final point. And finally, it's on to air sports, specifically the skydiving category. You're supposed to link up with other skydivers and take pictures with them, but you can also just not. Well, for the most part, you actually want to catch one person at the start, because otherwise a cutscene with Gwen the skydiving instructor will play at the end, losing you about 3 seconds. Skipping this cutscene is known as, hold on to your hats fellas, Gwen skip. Ducky points his remote straight down to fall as fast as possible. Shut up. And that's the run, fellas. It's been pretty neat covering Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort for the show, so leave a comment if you'd like to see me look at the rest of the Wii series of games. I'll see you all later. Good night, fellas. Sleep well.